All right, sorry about that. Hey Raymond, how you doing? Good to see you. I'll give it a second here. It took me a minute to get this thing going here. Jenny. Hey, happy Labor Day, Raymond. Hey Tom, how's it going? Happy Labor Day to you. I know some people were able to get out today and enjoy some Labor Day parades in their areas and their cities. So unfortunately, we didn't get to have the one this year in Detroit. So, but hey Cody, hey Dave. Hey Jamani, happy Labor Day to you. I'll give it a few more minutes here. Lauren, how you doing, buddy? How's things back in Kokomo? Hello. Yeah, kind of a bummer this weekend, the weather here. I don't know how it's been everywhere else, but it's been really warm all along. And then yesterday and today it's been overcast and in the 60s, so definitely a lot different for us up here. But I guess, you know, this is the end of summer, so. Hey Nick, how you doing? Good to see you on here. Bill. But I'll go ahead and get rolling here. Hey Ryan, how you doing? I just really wanted to take a moment, just being Labor Day, just to touch on every Labor Day I like to reflect on where we've been in our history as a union and also where we are today. We look at our current situation in a lot of areas with temps, tiers, and traditionals, but every year on Labor Day, I always go back to my grandparents and their generation, I think of my grandparents particularly. 3 of my 4 grandparents were UAW members and retirees, and I think of them migrating from the South back in the 1930s and 40s, in essence because they wanted to find a better life, and how they were, able to be hired at GM and Chrysler and be part, of many life-changing standards. That the UAW set for members and the working class. I had a grandmother, who, along with her siblings, was dropped off at an orphanage during the Depression. And I remember my grandfather, also talking about having nothing and nearly starving to death. They all migrated north to survive, and it was union jobs that enabled them to live the American dream. It's interesting. Years ago, I for a labor studies class I took, I had to do an interview of someone in the labor movement from years before. So I interviewed one of my grandfathers and just asking, in essence, how the union had impacted his life. And at that time, he and my grandmother had been retired from GM for, roughly 20 years. And my grandfather talked a lot about, when I was younger, and even as I became a union member myself, he talked a lot about growing up in Tennessee. Back prior to the Depression and during Depression, and his father was a miner, and he talked a lot about working in the mines. My grandfather would go to with his father every now and then to the mines actually to work, and he talked a lot of those days about things we forget about nowadays or some people never knew. But back then the miners, they weren't paid wages; they were paid in company scrip. And basically, it was just a piece of paper that gave them credit, at the company store, and the companies, a lot of the mining companies provided housing for the workers, and basically the mining companies, controlled every aspect of their lives back then, and it seems like a far-fetched, distant memory, to most of us, but like it could never happen again. But when you think about where we've been and where we are, we have to look at things like that because there are things that repeat themselves. And our union used to stand for 8 hours work, 8 hours rest, and 8 hours recreation. And the recreation part was key because that was an ability, for members to pursue hobbies or pursue other interests outside of work, and that's really what helps your mental well-being. And you think about it nowadays, without those 3 things, without the 8 work, 8 rest, and 8 recreation, something has to give. And what it is, the companies expect our lives to evolve around work. A lot of our members are working long hours. They're working alternate work schedules that cause hardship on people. Even like some of the companies that have TAP, tuition assistance program, the TAP is limited to being tied to a career within the company. So all of these aspects of our life are expected to evolve around the company, and at the end of the day, what ends up being sacrificed is either the 8 hours of rest or the 8 hours of recreation. So people don't get enough sleep, or on top of that, they're left to, sacrifice any hobbies or interests they have outside of work because their entire life evolves around work. If we don't get away from this company union philosophy, we're just going to continue to regress as a union. Since the nominations at the convention, at the end of July, it's a shame. The IEB, and their fear mongers are out there, and they're claiming that UAWD and the UAW Members United slate, and basically anyone out there that's running in opposition to the IEB and their slate, is trying to destroy or divide the union. And the sad reality of that is, the IEB has done a masterful job of that without anybody else's help. Those of us running against the IEB, we're in tune with the members. That's someplace our IAB hasn't been in years. Those of us running against the IAB, we don't forget where we come from. I mean, every day I go to work, I never forget where the casting plant. It's a great plant. It's a family atmosphere. I mean, I love our workers there. I'm proud to be from that plant. But let me tell you, it's a harsh environment. In the summertime, the temperature could be 130 degrees in there on most days. It's a hot, dirty, it's a tough place to work. And I don't forget that. Every day I go to work, I think of that. Think of the people at my plant. I think of my grandparents' generation and our retirees. We don't forget our brothers and sisters working long hours. We don't forget the different sectors of the UAW and the subgroups from temps to tiers to traditional workers. It's our obligation to fight to put the membership back in control of this union and make their lives better. And that's what we're all about. And that's what those of us who are running against the IEB and their caucus are trying to do. Something that was really, and the other thing, I want to be clear about too, because it really pisses me off when I hear, the guilting, and I want to call it guilting because that's how they operate. They speak to people and they want to make them feel guilty. Like if you vote for the opposition or anyone that's against the IEB, like you're doing something wrong. You're doing nothing wrong. You're standing up for yourself and for your future, whether you're a temp, a tier worker, or a traditional worker, or a retiree. You're standing up for yourself when you vote for us. And the sad part is, UAWD is not trying to take the place of UAW. The Members United slate's not trying to take the place of anybody. Everybody believes in a UAW. We just don't believe in the leadership who continues to follow a company union philosophy. That doesn't work for our members. So, the other day I was approached by somebody at work, and they brought me a post on Facebook that one of the assistant directors at one of the regions had posted. And it was really, it was taking a shot at those of us who are running against this. And I really thought it was a real testament to where we are and where our leadership is. And that post that this assistant director put on Facebook said something along the lines of, some people would rather sink the ship just because they can't be captain. And that statement, in my opinion, sums up the course of where we've been the last 40 years. Our ship's been taking on water, and the membership is exhausted from bailing the water out. That's what they've been doing. But meanwhile, the captain and crew of the USS I Got Mine are sitting at the helm, sipping cocktails and smoking cigars. Over the last 40 years, we've lost 1 million members, and we continue to hemorrhage plants and jobs and our members, and we can't survive if we continue down that path. So, the founders of this union, think about that. I mean, they were shot. Some of them lost an eye. They took beatings. Some of them were beat within an inch of their life, but they kept coming back because they believed in a cause that was bigger than themselves. So tell me, which of our current IEB members do you think would be willing to take a beating and keep coming back? They're not even willing to stand up and fight for our jobs that we have now. That's what you got to think about when you cast that ballot this fall. We have to stand together united. We can't continue as an IEB with our own priorities and everybody else. So in order to do that, we need to elect new leaders with a vision and a will to fight for every job. Solidarity, it's become an empty word. If leaders are going to speak of solidarity, then it has to mean something. We have to live it. And true solidarity to me means if the company comes after your job, then we're going to come at the company with everything we have to protect it and protect you. You know, one member, one vote, the passing of that, you know, never happened in the history of this union, where everybody gets a chance to vote now for our top leaders. We have to take advantage of this. One member, one vote means nothing if we don't vote and take it back. We have to take this union back for the membership and put the membership back in power. You know, electing the Members United slate and other non-IEB candidates, that's our only chance to end the company union philosophy, and this is our shot to do it. You know, it's our shot to bring back suspended cost of living language and job security language. It's been suspended for 13 years. It should have been brought back 15 or 19, and it wasn't. Those things, you know, the economic things, and we got to fight to end the tears. We got to help our retirees out. We got to eradicate the corruption once and for all. I mean, the Monitor's recent report still showed there's things going on, and the bottom line, there's no excuse for that at this point where we are in this union. But you know, when you think of, you know, cost of living and where we stand today, it's vital. We should already have it. And I find that, you know, that President Curry spoke today on, or had an article today on Facebook and talked about the, Biden's new legislation addressing, the inflation. But the bottom line is we need to take care of that on our own, and we should have already taken care of it. That's what we got to get back to. You know, my grandparents' generation, you know, they were willing to lay down their lives to have a union and live the American dream. And unions were a big part of what was once the American dream. You know, we have to get back to setting the standard and bring that reality back to our members and the generations that follow us, just like our grandparents' generation did. You know, so, you know, with the election coming up, bottom line is, you know, we have to take advantage of this. Ballots are going to be going out, so you have to make sure that, you know, that with your local union that your address on file with your local is accurate and up to date, because that's the list that the government monitor is using when they're mailing out the ballots. The ballots will start being mailed out this October. And the most important thing you can do for yourself, whether you're a temporary worker, a tiered worker, a traditional worker, a retiree, no matter what sector of this union you work in, whether it's gaming, you know, it doesn't matter. Top, I don't care where you come from, higher ed, IPS, it doesn't matter. No matter what sector you're out of, you've got to stand up for yourself here. And marking that ballot is the number one thing you can do. It can't be any easier than this. They're going to mail the ballot to your home. Mark that ballot for the Members United slate and the opposition candidates, and let's take this union back. So I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time on Labor Day. I want to wish all of you, you know, a great finish to your Labor Day weekend, and look forward to talking to everybody some more. Yeah, and I see this comment here from Ryan Schultz. I wish somebody would stand up for Belvedere Assembly. You know, we've lost more than 4,000 people, and right on, brother. I mean, it's a shame, all the product, you know, at that plant alone that's been put in play with the company. There's been ample opportunity for us to secure work for that place. And the bottom line is the companies chose not to secure product for that plant, and there's been no action. I mean, meanwhile, we struck Marysville Axle when it became ZF for recognition. So that's the problem with this union. It's a company union. Our leadership does not want to piss the companies off, and we have to get away from that. And again, I'm not saying we have to fight about everything, but when it comes to our jobs, we got to stand up and we got to take these companies on. We cannot continue down this path. Just glancing through some of these comments. Education of members. I mean, education of members is key. I mean, we got to get, you know, definitely focused there. I give people all the time my analogy when I first got elected a committeeman. You know, there was no how-to guide. There was no, hey, here's what you're going to expect to do when you come in here. When I got elected my first election, I remember walking through the plant gate and I had that, what I call the oh shit moment, where I thought, oh shit, now what do I do? And, you take the contract book, you bury yourself in it, and you learn. But, it was a long learning curve for me. It took me a good term or two to really learn to be an effective committee person. And, you never stop learning in these jobs. So, but we have to do a better job of bringing along our new members, our people that are new to the union, people that hire in the union, and current members, and then also our new leaders. We have to do leadership training a lot more often than we do. So there's a lot of things that we have to, to change with this. We got to give this union back to the membership. We got to have conventions where the membership runs the convention. The membership submits resolutions, and at that point, we should prep for it. We should have the committees together. But at the end of the day, the members, the delegates should drive the convention. You know, it shouldn't be driven from the top down like it has been. So working straight eights for the plant. Yep, I see you, brother. Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, I see questions on here. What do I think about other people running for VP and stuff? I mean, you know, my opinion, if, you know, we have to get away from the current caucus, the administration caucus of the IAB. I mean, bottom line, if there are, you know, there are a lot of alternatives out here. There are a lot of people putting themselves out here to run. And the bottom line, we need new leadership. That's why I would highly recommend you look at the Members United slate and look at other candidates that are running in opposition of the IAB. The IAB, if you think about this, they're going to have some of the seats they're already going to get by acclamation. But, you know, this isn't a one-man show, a one-woman show. I mean, electing one person alone is not going to affect a huge amount of change. So we have to elect more people. That's why, you know, as UAW Members United, we put together a slate of candidates so that, you know, we can hopefully get, you know, multiple people put in place so that we can affect change on the leadership of the International Executive Board. That's the way this has got to happen. So any race where you see opposition to the current administration caucus of the IAB, you know, I highly recommend that you vote for them. So with that, I'll get off here and just want to say that I really appreciate everybody taking the time to get on here, and look forward to talking to you some more in the near future. And please, you know, visit the Facebook group, give us comments or any of our websites, and be glad to talk further. So look forward. I know we're planning some more trips to go to some of the locals and meet with some of the, you know, members and in the different areas, different sectors. So wish you guys a happy Labor Day, and have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll be talking. Thanks a lot.